Hey everyone, Pupsker here, and today in the First Descendant, I wanted to talk about what I'm viewing as one of the worst parts about the First Descendant right now, is the entire situation around modding up a character descendant or a weapon. Like, both equally as bad. I just wanted to talk about how much I think they need to fix the modding situation right now, because it doesn't allow for build diversity the way that it is set up. We know that the First Descendant has a modding system that is copied and the same as Warframe, right? It is a game that is systematically the same as Warframe in a lot of ways, which is fine. But a lot of the issues right now with modding is you don't get anywhere near enough mod capacity in the game to feel like you have freedom of choice to actually move mods around. So let's take a look at my Descendant right now. This is a base Descendant with one energy activator not thrown in, okay? Just a base Descendant, no energy activator. You throw on an energy activator, it works like in Warframe as a reactor slash catalyst would, but it just essentially gives you more capacity. Cool. And you can also throw on the socket module types, same as Warframe Forma, the crystallization catalyst. And this is where the problem starts coming in. The entire situation around modding. You have zero goddamn choice, and you need to commit to a build very heavily. Once you throw on that energy catalyst, and once you start catalyzing, or energy activator, once you start catalyzing your character, you are set in goddamn stone to use those. Because you can see right now, okay, I have like 4 mods on, maxed out 5 mods on. That's not too bad, but you need to now throw on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe an 8th crystallization catalyst so that you can fully kit out your build. Once you do that, you can only swap your stuff around between the sockets, right? Only Cerulean going Cerulean, only Alamdine going to Alamdine, only Malachite, right? Etc. and so forth. You have zero choice to move things around. There's no option to move or swap socket types, of course. There's no sort of like universal socket type. So if you ever want to change a build at all, if you want to mod something out, you'll have to use another crystallization catalyst. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 crystallization catalysts on a character. I think I may have thrown 1 on Ajax. Let me check my Descendant screen. Yeah, I've thrown 1 crystallization catalyst on Ajax, because it actually shows you on this screen. If I move my face cam, you can see it, right? On Bunny, it shows I used an energy activator, that's that little indicator. And on Ajax, I've used 1 crystallization catalyst, and that is that indicator. So keep that in mind. It's just a huge mess. I want to swap things around, and you can't. One of the reasons is you have a bunch of the antibody mods, and every single one of these mods is different, right? So if you want to build resistance on a character, Descendant, you can't use this shit once you start modding up. And then it kind of fucks around your entire build if you want to swap anything around. Because guess what? Cold antibody uses the C1, toxic antibody uses slash, heat antibody uses the V, electric antibody uses the X. So these eventually get replaced, I think, by an ultimate mod later on that's better if you choose to use it. But the fact is that if you want to fully catalyze, there's some mods you just don't and will not ever use because the game doesn't allow you to swap it out with something that you'd want to use. It's so annoying, and that's why this game has to do something, okay? At the point of this video, you need to fully catalyze a Descendant and add energy activator a Descendant and a weapon if you want to have a full, strong min-max build. That takes like 8 hours, 5 to 8 to 10 hours. I think like 8 to 10 depending on if you're leveling a weapon or a Descendant, but probably around 8. People are generally saying if you're going fast, right? Because it takes at least an hour to an hour and a half usually, even if you're min-maxing, to max out a level on a character. Then you have to catalyze it. You also have to remember to farm all the catalyzers, right? And the energy reactor. That takes a little bit of time, but once you get a ton, that's easier. So it's a huge time on time to do a bunch of small things, and it'll take you, a ton of time, right? That's not really the issue, though. It could take a ton of time, right? Who gives a shit? But once you spend all of that time, you have almost zero build diversity in how you want to start using a character other than what you've already built it up for. So if you want to try another build on a character, sure, you might just have to go and F yourself and spend a ton of time and re-modding it, right? So if you hate yourself, if you don't respect yourself, and if you quite honestly don't give a shit about your time, this game is great, right? Love it, 10 out of 10. But it really needs to fix that quality of life that is just wasting everyone's time, for sure. That's just kind of all there is to it. This game's great, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but it is a greedy version of Warframe systems, and they really need to tone it back. So realistically, every mod in the game should cost 2 less, or maybe if they wanted more, like 3 or 4 less, right? But if at least every mod in the game cost 2 less, and like these gave 2 more, you know, then you'd be able to have a free slot or 2 early on, and if you fully catalyze, you can have 2 mods that you can swap around with zero care about what socket they have, which means that you also have more build diversity because you can swap out these types of mods for other items too. So it'll allow for more transitions in mod if they want to be nicer 3 or 4, but the game is right now just very greedy. It doesn't feel good to fully commit to a build. Like, even if it's a great build, awesome. You want to do another build? Oh, well, that's not really going to work out that well because you'd have to do this, and I don't think you can force these between each setting. So once you fully catalyze, you can only have 3 builds and more, you know, once you buy them, but you can only have builds built around those catalyzer you already have. So right now the game has a lot of just quality of life, wanting to play the game problem. Like, I want to play the game, but I want to try different mods out, and the game just doesn't want you to do that. It's gonna take a lot of time to build and like upgrade the mods to max level, and realistically on Descendants and on weapons, you want to build mods out to the max level and equip those, because everything grows exponentially other than mod cost. So the final 2 levels or 3 levels on a mod is pretty much half of that mod's boost, and it only is like 3 more cost, whereas like the first 6, 7 levels of a mod is only a 50% increase. So it's an exponential boost, maxing out mods. So realistically, you don't want to have mid-level mods, you want to have maxed out mods like on the Tamer. I'll make a video talking about my Tamer and just chilling with it. I'm not going to max it out with every crystallization catalyst. I just don't care that much because I want to make and build up some more other ultimate weapons, but this is what we're looking like, and I just can't swap around a lot of things. Luckily, this is what I want, so I don't really care, but it just doesn't give a lot of build diversity. I'd like to experiment more with some mods, but I can't. Right? You have to only experiment within these limitations, and once I start maxing out the build, like I just won't be able to swap things around as much. But hey, it's just an issue with min-max building, right? I want the game to allow us to fuck around more. I don't only want to commit to a min-max build, right? I know a lot of people might love just like Googling YouTube or using whatever build sites they use for this game, but I just like dicking around, throwing on mods I like, and then swapping things around here and there. So yeah, it just sucks for build diversity and swapping things around. I don't even think the farm time for an energy activator or farm time for the crystallization catalyst are the worst. I care less about that. It's mainly just like, I want to be able to use different mods when I want to use them at my leisure. If I've thrown like 5 hours into a gun, 10 hours into a gun, I feel like you should be given more choice, not forced into a locked build, you know? It's like, yay, my gun's getting stronger, but then once I fully build it out, I can never really touch it that much. So yeah, and then if a cool new mod comes out, oh no, I'm gonna have to sacrifice something on my gun maybe that I wouldn't want to sacrifice in order to use this really good mod, and maybe you can't take off a parallel mod because it has a different socket type, so you have to completely change your build around a little bit, and it's just a huge pain in the dick, you know? Like, it just hurts, you know? It's like someone just went down there and just punched me in the wiener. Yeah, so it's pretty lame and pretty depressing that everyone's just like, oh, just copy it, just do a meta copy build and no, don't care. Nah, I don't want to like do NPC shit because that's kind of boring. I just want to dick around with my builds and throw on what I like. I agree that a lot of people can just NPC out, Google the finest builds, no issue with that, but the game should allow build diversity. It should allow easier testing. It should allow more quality of life and user-friendly behavior. I don't know why people are arguing against their best interest, whether they're stupid, they hate themselves, or they're actually just brain dead. I don't know, man, okay? I don't know why so many people are arguing against just simple, easy, nice quality of life. I think most people agree that, like, yeah, the game should allow more diversity and styles and be allowed to swap things around more. But I've seen so many comments being like, no, it's fine. The game's great. I loved farming up 8 catalyzers. It took me 4 days to max out my weapon. It was great. And now I can never swap it around. I Googled the best build and now I can use nothing else. Yay. And I'm like, man, dude, those people fucking crazy. I don't like them at all. They're insane. They keep arguing against their best interests because they're like, I farmed it already. It's amazing. I'm never gonna swap. It's like, dude, dude, just, it's okay. You can like guns, but just, yeah, just, it's gonna be the best build until the next best build until the next best build because you just keep using Google, right? Like, shit, dude, just allow shit to get swapped around and have diversity so people can have fun and enjoy a good multitude, a plethora of good gun descendant designs and choices between builds, right? I would love to have 3 separate tamer setups for fun, but like, I've already pretty much committed to this and it costs so much to swap things around. I want to throw on and try out mental focus, but even if I upgrade this, I'll have to take this off and then take maybe weak point sight on to put this on, and then I'll have to find something to replace that that'll be equal to like weak point sight, and then it's like, fuck, then I'll have to change my build around even more. So it's like, I get it. If you want to do multiple builds, you'll have to change them around like more than you'd want, but no, just give us some freedom of choice, please. I just want some quality of life. A lot of people, I made like small videos on like the other socials talking about it and yelling at it. The point went completely over their head. So many people were NPCing, being like, if you just put on an energy activator, if you just put on catalyst, it'll be fine. Point went right over their head. I swear to God, learning and like listening comprehension doesn't exist. It's gone on the internet. It was like 1 minute video and they were like, just use an energy activator and catalyst. I'm like, motherfucker, that's not what we're talking about. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? And then I just shake them. I'm like, why are you like this? And then they just get shaken baby syndrome. Now, I just want the game to allow more diversity so people can swap mods along and so that the game doesn't actively CBT us, right? Because guess what? It's a bad design choice that all of the antibody mods have different polarities, okay? If you want more defenses on antibody, you can try going and fucking yourself, because if you have a full build, you're not using these heat antibodies. You need to make sure you have those ultimate mods that give like resistance and makes it so that you die to the ultimate boss, or the boss is less. And it's like, man, the game really doesn't want you to have choice. It wants you to make a build and then fucking use that. It's just not a good design. It does take an insanely high amount of time to farm up the builds and catalysts and reactors, and that's a whole nother, like, it kind of sucks, but even without that, like, just give us choice. You farm up 10 hours, 20 hours into a Descendant or weapon, maybe 30 hours, who knows, right? And it would be nice to be able to swap things around, right? Like, shit, dude. It would be cool if you could maybe change around the catalyst at will or something. I know Warframe doesn't let you do that as easily, but like, yeah, universal catalyst would be cool, but just better quality of life, man. Because holy shit, is it rough right now. Either way, you just kind of have to find a build you want, just kind of decide on what you like, choose that, and fully commit. It sucks that the game tries to force you to fully pre-plan your builds, and if you don't, you're going to be at a slight disadvantage, but the game is easy enough that if you have an energy activator and like 2-3 catalysts in your gun/character, you'll be able to survive if you have a good enough build most things easily, even hard mode things, right? As long as you build somewhat competently. But past that point, it just kind of forces your hand into doing one thing or another. So it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. There's a ton of quality of life that'd be sweet to change, like on ultimate reactors, not have the annoying force a ultimate weapon so that you're forced to use a certain ultimate weapon every time you use an ultimate character. It's not a big deal, but it kind of is. It still sucks, but it would be nice if we could also, like with our guns, re-roll the secondary stats on reactors and external components. So there's a lot of quality of life this game could definitely still use right now, and I really hope they add it, because the game doesn't want you to experiment. It's just that simple. The game is actively discouraging people trying different things. That's why you're gonna see a build, each build, right? It'll be like best build, strongest build, fastest build, hardest build, stronger, faster, harder, best. It's always gonna be the best new build because it's the only fucking build they can commit to, and it's good, right? No matter what, it's not worth experimenting. It's worth pre-planning your build and then being like, Kate, that's the best build, and then just, it's the best build, right? So, love it or hate it, it's the way of the game, and it's the way the game wants it to be. Either way, game's fun. I'm gonna eventually build up my character's descendants and weapons, but I'd rather farm everything in the game first, so one thing at a time. Moxie has some sweet best weapon builds and character builds, because I think he's going ham. I think Nightmare Frame makes a lot of good weapon and like character builds, right, from Warframe onto First Descendant. So there's a lot of good full builds out there if you want to copy those that are really strong. But I just want the game to allow build diversity, right? So please, game, just allow that. But if not, there are a lot of strong builds out there, so you can check out like those content creators. Ton of other creators making builds online, bunch of people posting builds on Reddit, and I'm assuming there's like some sort of First Descendant build website, such as like Warframe.gg or Warframe Builder, First Descendant Builder. There has to be one out there. So if you want to get like the best or just a good build, and it's never really the best because, you know, subjective, right? But if you always want to get a lot of really strong, good builds, just go search online, see what people are using, see if you like it, and be like, okay, cool, works for me. Either way, I just wish the game would allow more quality of life, build diversity, but at least there's a lot of people who are making good builds, really strong builds, so copy those if you want. Just try to understand why the build works and like why it's good. Don't just fully NPC out and be like, I use this build because I like it. Or you can. It's not like it actually matters, right? As long as you're realistically having fun, that's all that really matters. So I just do want the game to have more QOL and allow more build diversity. But as long as everyone's having fun, that's good. I just want to have more fun. So yeah, let me know what builds you're using, but I just refuse to fully commit to a lot of builds right now because it costs so much, and I just want to farm up descendants and weapons. So once I farm up all my descendants, then maybe I'll start making builds and dicking around more outside of just dicking around on my tamer. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've made some sweet builds, whose builds you're using if you choose to like watch content creators and use any of their builds, and what builds you'd like to mess around with if they made it better quality of life. So thank you all. I will see you next time. I just wanted to yell at clouds and cry about the First Descendant for this video. Cheers, cheers.